So let's talk about something that is pretty fundamental to anyone who wants to get better with their money. And that is the different kind of savings accounts you should have and what you should be doing with them. Now, I know what you're already thinking.
Yvonne, do I really need multiple bank accounts? Isn't that just overload?
Well, if you're someone who wants to get serious about their savings goals, then it might be worthwhile for you to consider multiple bank accounts to help you make your money work both better and smarter for you. And so this may just be the video for you. So let's get started. Hello friends, and welcome back to this money video. If you are new here, hi, my name's Yvonne and I make new videos every week, mostly talking about how to save money, make money and grow your money. And that's because I am on a personal journey to financial independence and financial freedom, and I'm sharing all the tips, hacks, tricks that are helping me on my journey so that they can help you too. So if you are interested in these topics, then please do make sure to hit that like button, subscribe and share this video with someone who wants to make a positive impact on their finances. Now, I have to say, when it comes to bank accounts, there is actually no overnight solution or magic formula to how you can get good with money. But I do think the way you store and use your money could be the first step in helping you make the best financial decisions for you. Now, I can't generalize for everybody, but I know that this method has worked really well for me. So I really do want to share it with you in the hopes that it will help you too. And the way I like to think about this is that savings should not just be pots of money sitting in an account somewhere and they have no objectives or no goals attached to them. They can be used for so much more and can actually be the tool you need and use to help you reach those financial goals that bit faster. So I want to get into 3 essential savings accounts that I think at a minimum you need. The first one is a savings account for your emergency fund. Yes, I am mentioning the emergency fund yet again, but that's because I think it's so fundamental to your financial journey that I will keep talking and shouting from the rooftops about it. In fact, I think it's so important that I actually recommend that you should start working on your emergency fund even before you aggressively tackle down your debts. Yes, I said it. Because the truth is, whether you have debt or not, you really need to be prepared for any unexpected emergency that can arise at any point in your life. Now, I'm talking about things like your car needs a new tire, right down all the way up to you lose your job. Whether you have debts or not, those things need to be sorted out. So it's important to make sure you have enough to cover you for all of life's unexpected surprises. And so it's important to have an emergency fund savings account for you that you can tap into quickly without worrying about it. And of course, not having to pick up debt for it either. So I know that so many people use their credit cards as an emergency buffer, but what you have to remember is that you have to pay that money back. And sometimes it comes with some really terrible terms attached to it. So it's important to have a separate pot of money that you can easily dip into it that is specifically for emergencies. Now, some financiers, if that's a word, suggest that you should work towards having an emergency fund with at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up. Because let's say you lose your job, God forbid, then the emergency fund would allow you to have a 3 to 6 month buffer so that you don't get evicted from your home and you're still able to feed yourself and pay all your bills until you sort out your next source of income. And it's important to note that when we say 3 to 6 months of expenses, this is your bare minimum and the amount you need to survive on. This will not include any fun money for you to go on holiday to Dubai with. I'm just saying. So another point to note is that it's important that your emergency fund is in a savings account that is totally liquid, meaning you can take money out of it anytime you want. And so I highly recommend that you keep your emergency fund in a separate account from where you receive like your 9-to-5 income or your normal source of income. And if you can, actually put it in a separate bank account so that you can avoid using it for any other reason other than emergencies. Having that money not be in any way attached to your credit card, debit card, 9-to-5 source of income, or even the bank account linked to your debit card means that you really have to go out of your way to take that money out for emergencies alone. And so it's just a way to just basically make sure that you are keeping your money in there and not transferring that money out to pay for a night out with friends or pay for a taxi or buy a dress or something like that, you know? I'm just being honest. And especially now that lockdown rules have been lifted and we can socialize again. And of course, the added benefit is that you can store your savings in a high yield interest account that is completely liquid, which means that even if you don't use your money for your emergency, at least it's making some money for you. But I want you to remember the most important thing is that this money is available for the emergency that will most likely happen. You're just going to be super prepared for it, right? The second savings account you should have is your short-term savings account, or sometimes they're also known as sinking funds. And these are just savings that are liquid and readily available to help you meet some of your short-term financial goals. So this could be anything from like saving for a holiday, buying new homeware or new furniture, or it could be even money you set aside for birthday gifts, right? It's whatever you want to save for the very near future, but they aren't classified as emergencies either. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is separate from your emergency fund, and in that way I believe it should also be completely in a separate account, and even from the bank that you have your emergency fund in, just to avoid any confusion and money being withdrawn from the wrong account. But again, this is all based on your own willpower and spending patterns. I just find it a lot easier, but you may be completely different and super organized. But if you're not, this is what I would recommend because it's actually working for me. Now, when it comes to short-term savings, there are different schools of thought on this. There's some people who find it super helpful to have different accounts for all the different short-term goals. So a separate travel account, a separate home account, a separate gift account, a separate baby account, you know, and so forth. Whereas other people actually think just have one account for your short-term goals. You put in the amount that you need for each of your different saving goals. You write it down somewhere else where you can track how much you have saved or spent towards each of these goals. Personally, I prefer having multiple bank accounts, but not to overload. Like, you don't need all of them to have separate ones, but have multiple ones for different things that you can categorize the same, because it's easier for me, and I know that this method will help me not dip into different things. But I'm also well aware that this method is not for everyone, so it's completely up to you and what works best for you. The key thing is to make sure you have a separate place where you are storing your money for your different short-term goals. And of course, it goes without mentioning that you will definitely want to use the same strategy as your emergency fund and keep your money in a high yield savings account and get as much interest as you can, and make sure that it's accessible, easily accessible to you. Because if you need to get that money out in 6 months' time, you don't want it to be an account that would penalize you for withdrawing it. And then, just like your short-term savings account, I also recommend you have a long-term savings account. And this account, or accounts, depending on how many you want to have, will be specifically for all those long-term goals that you are saving for that are somewhere after your short-term time frame, but maybe before your retirement age. It's completely up to you. But what I'm talking about is goals that you are saving for example, for the next 5-10 years down the road. And when I think about this, for many of us, this will be like saving for things like either buying a home or something that's going to incur a really big life change. But given the time frame you're working on, for these savings accounts, you will want a mix of high yield saving accounts and of course some investment accounts where you can afford to let your money work for you and leave it to accrue some interest for you without having to withdraw it for a little while. And so I would say an investment account is perfect for any savings goal where you don't need to withdraw that money for at least 5 or 10 years. I also recommend having a mixture of both an investment account and high yield, because I personally am a little bit risk averse, and so even though investing will likely bring you higher returns than your savings accounts, there's still an element of risk when it comes to investing, and I genuinely don't think it's wise to invest all of your long-term money into the stock market, because there's always a risk you could always lose all of it, which is is why I think it's super important to keep a mix of different accounts for those longer term goals. But it's completely up to you how you switch that up. Maybe 30% in a high yield, 70% in investment, or 50-50. It's completely up to you. But like I always say, I'm not a financial advisor, and in this instance I highly recommend you seek the professional advice and guidance of a financial advisor. And so I found that in order to really accelerate some of your financial goals, it's super important that you have the right tools to help you do so. So I want you to take the first step towards positive financial health and just get your accounts in place. Let me know in the comments below how many savings accounts you have and how you manage your money effectively, because as you know, we are a community who love to share all our favorite money saving tips. Also remember, if you are looking for free money, who doesn't want free money? Make sure to hit that stocks and shares link down below, deposit money into your account and get a free share worth up to £100. That's 99 free pounds. In fact, in one of them, you only have to deposit £1. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any future uploads, as I am sharing all my tips and tricks on my journey to early retirement. Also, share this video with someone who is looking to make some positive changes to their finances. Don't forget to check out these videos, which will show you all the financial tips I'm currently implementing in my life that have saved me thousands of pounds. So thank you so much for all your support, and I will see you in the comments below, and of course I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.